Yo, what's happening? What is happening, guys? This is the Fantasy on Tap podcast with your boy Eric Sonnier, my co-host Blake Gambino. What's happening, my dude?
Yo, I thought you were about to say my hero. I was like, thanks, bro. My hero.
But as
Good to
always,
see you, bro. Good to be back.
I know it's been a couple of weeks, but as always, we want to go ahead and thank Fantasy Six Pack for allowing us to do this. Become an all-access member of Fantasy Six Pack to get access to the award-winning rankings, draft cheat sheets, DFS projections, betting tools, and other great content. We're actually doing some cool things right now. We actually did a mock draft where we're doing, 6 or 7 of us are of the Fantasy Six Pack are doing a league with 4 random. Actually, I guess that'd be 8 with 4 random fans that are part of the Discord. So go ahead and join that. You get the access directly to us. You can mock with us, and then 4 lucky players are going to get to be in a league with us to play for a trophy that will be sent to you if you win. So if you can go ahead and get started by, appreciating their support, subscribe to YouTube channel and like this video. And so let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about a couple things. First, we're going to talk about a little bit about Juwan Johnson and his rise up that ADP rankings. And then, we're going to get right into our top 20 running backs. All right. If we want to get started with your boy Juwan Johnson, that's
maybe a not a rise, in fact, maybe a fall, which is good, I think, for Juwan Johnson in the sense of ADP, because we signed our probably the greatest tight end in Saints history, Jimmy Graham. We signed him back. He didn't play last year. I think everyone thought he was retired, so it was pretty funny when we signed him back. I was like, wait, who did he play for last year? And then I was like, wait, he didn't play last year. I thought he retired. Guess he didn't. Maybe he got more healthy and is coming back to play for the Saints. He said he felt like he was coming home, which is always cool to hear for players that you had that were great on your team, But for Juwan Johnson, I think you were mentioning it today. They listed him as 1A of tight end starters next to Taysom Hill. We know Taysom Hill plays every position, including quarterback. So I think you can think pretty highly that Juwan Johnson's a starter. But some casuals, since we signed Jimmy Graham, I think some casuals are going to drop Juwan down on the ADP. And maybe he will get a few less red zone targets. Jimmy Graham's going to want to get in there and get a couple fades every now and then. But I still think Juwan Johnson's going to get hopefully 80-plus targets and then, some red zone targets weekly. So I think you can slot him in to be a top 12 tight end on the year, but you'll probably get him top 20 ADP. I mean, we did a mock draft last night. He didn't even get drafted. So that tells you where 8 experts and 4 fans are at. They didn't want to draft him, So, and I actually passed up on drafting him at the last second. I drafted Samuel Porta, but that's a 1A. No, that's a 1 starter, first on the depth chart, no one else around. That's why I drafted. And I had what's his name too? The Jared Goff is my quarterback, so I was kind of getting that connection, So. Just wanted to mention that. I saw some people were not requesting information, but they were searching on the website Fantasy on Tap Fantasy Six Pack about Juwan Johnson. So I just wanted to give people some updates. He is probably going to be the starter. Definitely going to be running more routes this year. So I think he's going to have a better year than last year. And his ADP is probably lower. So now you can get him for cheaper. I think the Jimmy Graham signing only helped his fantasy status, honestly. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I think I want to say the last 6 or 7 weeks of the season last year, Juwan Johnson was a top 10 guy for most of for the rest of the year. So he was obviously a target. He has really nice hands. He's pretty fast. I think he used to be a receiver, right? So he actually, he's got some potential. It's just the Saints they have an issue that they haven't had in a while. They have too many players. I mean, we almost saw Kareem Hunt today. That could still happen. We got loads of running backs. We got 4 tight ends now with Foster Moreau. You got Jimmy Graham. You got Taysom Hill, who's going to play, everywhere. And you got Juwan Johnson. That's a good sign that he's listed at the top of that depth chart as a starter so far, because the Saints always like to get their tight ends involved in the offense going forward. So, yeah, I agree with that. I think he's going to be pretty good.
Kareem Hunt signed with the Colts, right?
No, he's going to visit them tomorrow. That's what I was saying.
Oh, okay. I must have read it.
He signed first this morning. I woke up and it was we signed Hunt and Anthony Barr, the linebacker, and then a couple hours later I saw that it was okay. So we didn't sign Kareem Hunt, but we did sign Barr, And then a couple hours later, again, I saw that we didn't sign either one of them. So I don't know. I don't know if the
Twitter. Dang
know,
you, Elon Musk. Everybody has a check now.
Yeah, like if you tweet something, it's pretty much going to be locked in. So yeah, if you want to get,
we need to get some checks on the F6P Twitter so we can just say whatever and get.
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna get hella it's gonna get hella likes if it's a good content. You know what I mean? It's Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara is not going to be good anymore. We might trade him. I saw something like that too. Dude. I said it was like, how long since they signed Cunt that we're gonna cut Alvin Kamara? I'm like, bro, Alvin Kamara is like the second highest paid running back in the league. We're not cutting Alvin Kamara. Like, get over yourself.
I saw another guy said he wanted to trade him for a 4th round pick, and I was just like, what? Well, we would at least get like a 2nd or 3rd, right? Like, I mean, I want to get at least back what we drafted him at. You know,
the Colts traded a 1st for Carson Wentz a couple years ago. Like, I mean, we could do a little bit better than that. But yeah, so Juwan Johnson, he's a tall 6'4" guy. He's going to get a lot of targets in the red zone. And like I said, he's that good hands possession receiver that with Michael Thomas and Chris Olave kind of getting locked up, he might be that guy that's going to be getting a lot of targets. So, if he's there available in the later rounds, couple last rounds, and you already got your kicker defense, take a shot on him. But yeah, so let's get into it. We're going to go with our top running backs for 2023. PPR leagues, that's what we like to play the best. It doesn't really, change that much if you go to the standard leagues. You might move a couple guys down, a couple guys up. So what we did here is we did a top 20. We both had some say in it. We might argue back and forth whenever we say these people's names, but kind of just our top 20 going in. It's only the first week of August, so you still got about a month for that to change. So let's start off with our top 5. I mean,
I did it 20-10. My bad.
Okay, yeah. Well, never mind. We'll start from 20 then. The most controversial ones, right? So starting off with 20, dude. That's your boy.
I'll say it. Yeah. So last night, if you want to go check out our live mock we did, it's a video now on YouTube. So just go check that out. I had the number 1 pick, and at 3-1, which is just my 3rd pick, I drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. I wanted Rhamondre Stevenson, I'll be honest, but he got drafted right before me. So I went Jahmyr Gibbs as my 1st overall running back. Pretty crazy strategy. But with looking at who was left, I had drafted T. Higgins, so I didn't want to stack Higgins and Mixon, which, looking back, maybe I should have wanted to do that, but we'll see how that pans out in the end. It was just a mock. But for me, Jahmyr Gibbs, they've been saying he's going to be on the field all the time. Even when Montgomery's on the field, they're saying Gibbs is going to play slot or they're just going to run 2-back sets. So I think if you're spending a 1st-round pick on Bijan, which some people are, Bijan Robinson, then I don't think spending a 3rd-round pick on Jahmyr Gibbs is crazy. I was at 3-1, like I'm saying, so I would have had to wait all the way back to 4-12, which I don't think Gibbs was going to be there, especially if I drafted another running back. Like, say if I drafted Mixon there, then that would just push all of it back, So that's why I picked Gibbs. I'm thinking 80 catches, hopefully over 1,000 yards rushing. That's a solid season. I mean, that's pretty similar to what McCaffrey had last year, just with the touchdown variation. I mean, maybe he won't score. I think McCaffrey had like 16 touchdowns last year or something. 15 maybe.
I think the argument that people are saying against Jahmyr Gibbs is he's just kind of like a scat back. But PPR-wise, that's pretty good. He's like you said, he could get that 80 catch mark. He reminds me of Alvin Kamara. I've been saying that since he was in at Alabama. He's a dominant player. He's kind of the same guy. He runs fast. He catches the ball like a receiver, and he runs hard. So hopefully, he can get that going. And like we were saying, I think the Lions are pretty good, going to be good going forward. So, Jared Goff is going to utilize him pretty well out of the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, if you're picking a running back like Bijan in the 1st round on a terrible team like the Falcons, terrible teams aren't going to be there. They might want to run the ball because that's their thing. But when you're losing, you can't be running as much, And maybe the Detroit Lions will be pretty good this year. They boosted up their defense, they feel like. So maybe they'll be running the ball, And maybe some of those carries go to Montgomery. But I think they drafted a guy like Gibbs in the 1st round. So I'm ready to stake my name on him. So that's why I said we have Gibbs at 20. I think most of us have him around the 30s mark. So we're definitely getting hot by putting him up there at 3-1. Now the next guy's you, Miles Sanders, who you also drafted last night. So tell us what you think about Miles Sanders.
I actually drafted him. It was pretty late. I think it was like the 5th round though. So and he was my running back 4. I think Miles Sanders is pretty solid running back to begin with. When he plays and stays healthy, he was pretty good for the Eagles. I think he just wanted some money. That's why they let him go, and they had other needs. They got DeAndre Swift, so he was pretty good. But Miles Sanders runs hard. Like you said, he's kind of a decent catcher. And then with the Panthers, they always, the past couple of years, they produced well at the running back position. Even when Christian McCaffrey left last year, they had Dante Foreman, who was pretty solid. Put up pretty solid numbers every week. Yeah, and with a rookie quarterback, he's going to want to rely on their run game a lot this year. So I think 19. If you can get Miles Sanders in the 5th or 6th round, I think you're getting away with a pretty good steal right there.
Heck yeah, I agree with that completely. All right, next guy, James Conner, another guy that I also drafted. I think I drafted him at 412. And I got Kamara at 5-1.
Maybe that's why our rankings were down, because we drafted all these bottom 20 guys.
Yeah, look, when you start off, I had number 1 pick, so I went Justin Jefferson, and then T. Higgins. So I was already going to have to pick my next running back. Was not going to be a top 15 running back at that point anyway. So, but I got the next out of our rankings, I got 3 top 20 guys. So I'm feeling pretty good. And with James Conner, I think another guy who isn't on a great team and doesn't catch the ball as much, but he did play the most snaps out of anybody last year at the running back position. And I think snap percentage is something that matters. Whether you're going to catch the ball or run the ball, you don't get paid. You don't get points for being on the field, but you do. That's an opportunity to score points. So plus he gets all the goal line carries. So if they're ever in the red zone, he's getting 2 cracks at it before they try to throw to Hollywood Brown or Ertz. So that's why I like Conner right there. And like we're saying, these are top 20 running back positions rankings. So it's not like you're drafting these guys 20 straight down the middle. You like we did last night. We got Conner and Sanders in the 4th and 5th round. Like I said, I just reached with Gibbs because I really wanted to have him on my team. So
these are top 5 rounds. These are the players who are going to go there. If you get one of these guys in the 5th round, I wouldn't be too upset about it. Next time we got up there is Najee Harris. I think just from pure volume, he'll be pretty good. He'll be a top 20. He'll be a top 20 guy. I think this is one of them that could actually go the other way. Just because they're going to, get him involved a lot. They're going to carry. He doesn't have a high run per carry average, but he catches a lot of passes. He gets 20 carries a game almost, it seems like. So as long as he can stay healthy, he might actually go higher than that running back 17 spot I have him at.
Look, I'm not against that. The very first mock we did, I drafted Najee Harris, and I really wouldn't be mad if I picked him. They're going to run. The Steelers are always a team that likes to run the ball. They improved their line, apparently. Kenny Pickett's another year. They've got good wide receivers and a good tight end. So, they have the weapons to, where teams can't really stack the box. So, I think as long as Harris improves himself as a runner, he can have a good season.
That's the hard one right there. It's because the Steelers' offensive line is not that good. So, I think if he did have a better line, that average would be a little bit better. But, like you said, they might have done a little bit better there. I didn't see a lot of movement there, but it's always possible. Najee Harris is a good SEC back. He's good.
I think the guy they just drafted in the first round too, their lineman they listed him 2nd on the depth chart. The guy they traded up for the Steelers. So that's not too good for him to not even just be a day 1 starter. So give him some time, I guess. But who you got next? Breece Hall. You got any stock of Breece Hall?
Yeah, so these next couple guys, Breece Hall, Javonte Williams, and Alvin Kamara, all kind of have situations going on. Breece Hall, we're going to talk about him first. He actually, everybody knows what he's going through. He had that major knee injury last year, and he still hasn't really been practicing a lot. He hasn't been cleared for contact. Everybody kind of thought he was going to be definitely available for week 1, and I think that's kind of in question right now. So that's kind of why he was, slipped down to 16. I think without that, with Rodgers and stuff, he'd probably be a top 5 back, top 10. But, that knee injury is something to worry about. I got him at 3. I think I want to say first pick in the 3rd round in that draft last night. So I was kind of like, if he falls to the 3rd, it's not a bad pick, but you got to be worried about it.
I had first pick, so you had 312. So you mean 312?
Still the last pick in 3rd, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Still good. That's still people are. A lot of pundits are trying to say if he wasn't injured, he'd be in the 1st round. So
yeah, absolutely. That's
eventually, he won't be injured anymore. He's going to become more healthy, and this is kind of a similar. This is kind of why we have these guys in this tier, is because the beginning of the season, especially for fantasy, you could start off 0-3 and then still go to the fantasy playoffs, and that means all you got to do is make the fantasy playoffs, and you have a chance, right?
You can start off 0-3 and really realistically still get first place. Like, I mean, it's not something that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Still make first place.
Yeah, especially so if you got Breece Hall and he doesn't play the first 2 weeks, and you spend a second round pick on him, and you're like, oh, my draft is over. But then the next 12 weeks, he's a top 5 running back. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't hurt you really. That's kind of the risk you're trying to take with these guys. I still would put Breece Hall, I think, above Javonte, even though Javonte, they say, is practicing. I just, from having had a knee injury myself, Javonte's knee injury was did a lot more damage to his knee. And I just feel like now I'm no NFL player, but you just have a lot less confidence in your knee when it's like really torn up, So when you just pop that ACL, they can put a graph in there, and I mean, you could be running. I ran full speed July 4th. I remember because I was a little tipsy. Let's see, July 4th, and I tore my ACL in like end of March, and I didn't even have my surgery till a little while after that. So I mean, that's only a month that I was running full speed. Now I wasn't gonna like do any cuts or anything, but you can run in a straight line without your ACL, really, like Tajay Spears. Like some people you don't need it really. So it's more for cuts and stuff. So I don't think we should be too worried about these guys.
It's just like, is Breece Hall's knee was it that minor if he still isn't practicing though? Like he tore his ACL before Javonte Williams did his, and
that's kind of the thing, yeah.
Javonte is cleared for full contact, so that's why I kind of have him ranked higher than Breece Hall. But it's just like, what's really going on with Breece Hall's knee? I mean, do they have to tell us everying? Because if the dude's not,
they're both healthy though. If neither of them ever got injured, I think you probably take Breece over Javonte, right?
I mean,
Breece was looking pretty nasty.
I really like Javonte. So was Javonte though. Like he was averaging, his rookie year, he had the most missed tackles, like caused missed tackles in the league as a rookie, and he was splitting carries with Melvin Gordon. And he was on pace for a pretty solid season last year before he got hurt. But so was Breece Hall. Breece Hall is kind of like a freak talent coming out of college, so we never really got to see his full potential. But I think both of them are pretty solid options.
Yeah,
it's just kind
right
of
here. That's why I like this ranking. They're both kind of right there, neck and neck. And then with Kamara, always repping my boy. I also got him last night in the draft. Everybody, all of our guys in the league want to make fun of me for being a Saints fan, but like I just said earlier, the first 3 games mean nothing. Like I don't need I can start my RB2s and 3s if the rest of my team is good enough, and I'm gonna have Alvin Kamara for the end of the year, and this is the guy who gets 800 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards a season. Like that's like a wide receiver 3 and an RB2 in one player, which makes him an RB2 plus. So it's like, why would I not draft this guy at 5'1"? I'm not going to let him fall. So.
What we were saying is, I mean, if you are scared to draft a player in the 5th or 6th round because you think he's not going to play for the first 3 weeks, that means you're probably not good at drafting to begin with. And, that's something you probably should be worried about, is going after the better players for now. But like, if you can draft well and you can draft good the first 4 picks and then pick Kamara like he did last night and still build a team after that, then you should nothing to worry about, because the first 3 weeks don't mean nothing. But yeah, so I mean, we can kind of move on to Breece, Javonte Williams there. Like I said, he's practicing. I love Javonte Williams. I have him in my dynasty league. I have him in a couple other leagues. Like I said, Scott Fish Bowl, I have him there. I like Javonte. I like Sean Payton with running backs as well. So,
true, yeah.
And I was also looking at that Javonte Williams was studying a lot of Alvin Kamara's games because Sean told him that's how he's going to use him. So, so that's what I'm saying. So I think he's going to be pretty solid going forward. It's just really about that knee. He was good before he got hurt, so hopefully that knee's healed up pretty well.
Sean Payton made Chris Ivory and Pierre Thomas valuable fantasy running backs, and those are guys who were like undrafted or like drafted in like the 5th round, or you know what I'm saying. So like, yeah, Javonte Williams with Sean Payton, Russell Wilson at quarterback. Like, I think that's going to be good as long as Russell Wilson can learn to throw the screen a little better, because nobody threw it like Drew Brees, So that's kind of the thing. Learn to throw that screen. It's a big part of the offense.
Russell Wilson had a lot of comparisons to Drew Brees, so I think it's going to be pretty similar going forward. That's why people are so high on Russell Wilson right now, because they got They got the guru, man. They got the offensive mind of Sean Payton. I'm really upset that we don't have Sean Payton right now, to be honest with you, offensive wise, because I think our team has a great offense and that we would thrive on our Sean Payton offense. But we won't get into that because that's another rabbit hole that will fall down and I'll be able to get back up. Let's go to Joe Mixon, dude. We got him ranked 13 in our draft. And that's honestly just because of circumstances, right? I mean, Joe Burrow likes to throw the football. That's really all there is to it. Joe Mixon doesn't catch that many passes. That's why they always had P. Ryan come in on third down. So his high value in PPR is kind of hindered by that. But he's still going to score some touchdowns, right? He's going to score some touchdowns. He's going to hit that stupid dance that he always hits. Do you ever see those TikTok? You ever see those TikToks of that one guy that he's so funny. He's like, Joe, and then, you know what I'm talking about? That one guy.
Yeah.
And he every time Joe Mixon scores, he's always like this mother. He's gonna and he goes. He always does something stupid after he scores and makes it look dumb after his touchdown. I love that guy. I'll send you some videos after. But yeah, Joe Mixon's a good running back. He is getting older. He is on a prove it deal. So
he wanted to sign. Like he said, he wanted to come back. So I always kind of respect some guys more, and I kind of raise them in my rankings a little bit. So I might have, which goes against everything I said last night because I didn't even pick him. But I only didn't pick Mixon because of the stack. I didn't want to have two Bengals players like that. But
right. Honestly, when a high power,
I like Mixon
and Higgins isn't probably a bad stack to have.
Looking back, like because I had in the other league, I have Chase already kept, so I'm like maybe I will pick Mixon at 3-1. Over because if Gibbs can fall. If I can get Gibbs at 4.12 and Mixon at 3.1, then that's really what I'd want to do. I really just really wanted to have Gibbs. So I was like, I probably could have waited. Looking back at how the draft fell too, with a couple people taking some crazy picks. So,
yeah,
sorry, my sunburn's itching from my vacation. So.
Actually, these next couple of guys, like I said, same thing with the three that we had: Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, and Etienne and Pollard. I think all four of those are pretty interchangeable. I think from this point on, going forward with the top 10, those are all pretty. Besides like the top, three, I think those are all pretty interchangeable. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. I don't think their points are going to be that far off. But we can kind of talk about it. I actually think we could move Aaron Jones down a little bit if we really wanted to. I put him strictly up there.
He seems like the most one that's in a 50-50 between those. Pollard and Mixon and Etienne really seem like they're going to be on the field more. Aaron Jones has got
A.J. Dillon.
A.J. Dillon to split carries with, so.
The only thing I like about Aaron Jones is because that rookie quarterback, he's going to – not rookie, I guess. Jordan Love his first year. I think Aaron Jones is really good at catching the ball, so he's gonna get a lot of catches. So I think PPR-wise, he's going to be pretty up there.
I want to say Jones has been top 12 in every year he's been a starter too. So it's like
absolutely.
Having him at 12 is not crazy. It's like
it's just without Aaron Rodgers now. The Packers do have a pretty solid O-line, so I think he'll be pretty solid there. And I think they're going to rely on the run a lot this year without Aaron Rodgers. So like I said, he can go either way. He's really a big 50-50 guy for me this year.
Wouldn't hate to have him on my team though as an RB2. If he's the first running back you draft, I would just want you to have really solid wide receivers ahead of him, or Travis Kelce or something.
Right.
He's just going to be your number one RB weekly. All right, Etienne. Etienne and Pollard. What do you say, Etienne?
I hate how you say some of these people's names. Like, would you say Bijan earlier? I was like, this dude here.
Bijan?
You said Bijan. I was like, what is this? But no, Etienne, Travis Etienne. I like Etienne. He's a Louisiana boy. He catches passes. That's why this is important for PPR. These couple of guys that catch passes, he's going to be solid. Trevor Lawrence is going to throw him the ball. He's going to line up in the slot. He's going to catch passes. He does have some competition there with Tanks Bigsby, but I don't think it's that much of a competition. I think he's kind of there.
Bigsby after
Tank Bigsby. So I think he's just there for support if Etienne gets hurt. But he's a first round pick for a reason. Etienne's pretty good.
Yeah, I definitely like Etienne's where he's at with their team too. Their team's on the rise. Their offense especially. They're getting Calvin Ridley back now, so I really like just when you have when the defense can't just focus on your stud. I really think that makes a difference in fantasy, especially same thing with Mixon too. That's kind of what worries me more about Jones over Mixon is because. Mixon's they got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, they got guys that even Tyler Boyd, and Joe Burrow throwing. So you can't just be like, oh, we're putting 8 in the box to stop Mixon. We're like, no, we got to guard Ja'Marr Chase with probably a safety over the top, at all times. So it's like,
it's kind of cool watching the process. It's kind of cool watching this process that's going on because like as we were younger, these teams like the Jets and the Bengals and the Jaguars and the Lions were all terrible. You know what I mean? Like you never want to draft any of these guys. So now the drafts are starting to come along. They're finally starting to process and move up. All the years of suffering are kind of ending. I mean, the Bengals were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They had a really good chance of being there last year. The Jets have Aaron Rodgers, so they're probably going to be pretty solid this year. The Lions are a really good team that I like going forward. And the Jags, they picked a generational talent at quarterback. Some people didn't like their Etienne pick, but Etienne's going to be pretty good, I think. So I think they're going to be good going forward. I kind of like how the NFL is turning around. I wish the Saints.
Yeah, it's definitely it's nice to see like the bottom feeders. Be able. It's like that's what they say about the NFL too is the parity. It's not always like with the NBA or something or even baseball a lot of the time. Like there's just like the top 4 teams, and it's really just going to be them the whole time. Or even with college football, right? It's going to be Alabama and Clemson every year, and Ohio State or something. So
right.
It's nice to be able to see some stuff flipping up.
That's actually changing a little bit now too. Like Georgia is starting to come around. Obviously they're not coming around. They're here. LSU's getting back. LSU's trying to get back to being on top. You got Michigan coming back, so I kind of like college football as well. But yeah, like the NBA is just so boring now. It's just like every time a player becomes available, I say it all the time on Twitter. If y'all follow me, it's like okay. So perfect example, Damian Lillard. He wants to get traded. He's been a guy that wants to help his team. That's a low budget team go to the championship. Now all of a sudden he only wants to play for the Heat. Why? You know what I mean?
And then he just happened to be in the finals last year too, right?
Right, the final team. Yeah, it's just like, is that all you want? Is to see the same teams over and over again win? You know what I mean? Like, why not the Pelicans? Why can't Damian Lillard come to the Pelicans? Why not? Or that's just me being a homer. But like, just any of these small market teams that have a chance to be good. The Kings, Sacramento Kings, they were pretty good last year. They're probably like one star away from being a solid team. Like
dude, I think they should just to go off on a crazy tangent real quick. I think the T-Wolves should trade Karl Anthony Towns for Lillard, right? I mean, try to make that trade work because they're stuck with freaking Gobert, and they got what's his name, like the young
Anthony Edwards. Yeah, he's a beast.
Anthony Edwards. So it's like, come on, man, like put Damian Lillard on that team. You won't have to worry about his defense anymore because that's really his main thing at 34, 5, or whatever he is. He's not a great defender. He's an awesome offensive player and a point guard for your team. So that's really what I think should happen. Trade Cat, get him out of there because you're not starting a power forward and a center like that, like on the same team. It just doesn't work. And you can't get rid of what's his name, right? Jeez.
Right.
Would they trade for him like 5 first-round picks or something? Like
Gobert? Yeah, something ridiculous.
Crazy.
Yeah, but let's get back into it. Like I said, I was about to like go into another tangent. I was like, you know what? I'll turn it back in.
Right. Come back for our Fantasy on Tap basketball podcast.
Right.
Launching next November.
But yeah, we're gonna jump into the top 10 finally. We're gonna start at number 10. We got the boy Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, he was pretty something serious last year with Zeke there, and now they don't have Zeke there, right? I mean, they drafted Deuce Vaughn, but he's like 5'4". I don't give a crap about him.
He looks so small on the field.
I don't give a crap about him running up the middle in practice when you see 4 people that could have just destroyed his ass.
Right.
But in practice, they're not going to kill the running back, so like they just let him run.
He set a block on the linebacker who's like 6'3", 270,
right.
And they shared it, and they're like, "Oh, look at him setting this block." And I'm like, I'm pretty sure if this was the real, like that dude would have destroyed that guy. Like it's his teammate. He's not trying to hurt him.
Right. Yeah. And he's a. I'm not going to say Deuce Vaughn's not going to be good because he might be something okay. But I mean, I don't.
He's no Darren Sproles though. You know, you got to have elite speed if you're going to be that small.
Exactly. So I wouldn't have anything to worry about Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard's going to be pretty good. It's the only thing I wouldn't draft him is because he's a Cowboy. I don't want to watch the freaking Cowboys play football. Like honestly, I don't. So, so that's really the only thing
about Rashad White. That's why he didn't make the top 20.
Right. And I was thinking about putting him on there just for you, but I didn't do it. But Tony Pollard catches passes. He runs hard. He's a big guy. He has no competition. Draft Tony Pollard. I'll let you take this guy because you seem to like him.
Yeah. Look, Rhamondre Stevenson. He was splitting carries last year with Damian Harris. Now he's not, so that's probably something like 140 carries vacated. And the dude just looks awesome every time. I mean, I don't watch the Patriots much, but I've seen the highlights of Rhamondre, and just watch a few games here and there. This is a guy who's getting the ball a lot. He's running hard, like you like to say, and he doesn't have any competition really. The only thing you can worry about is how finicky Bill Belichick is with running backs. If you fumble, he might bench you for the whole game. So it's just good that Rhamondre is not much of a fumbler. But I really think they know what they got with this guy, and they're going to feature him pretty hard. Now, they've featured running backs in the past, like Corey Dillon, way back after they traded for him. Corey Dillon used to be a Bengal. He was a beast back in the day. They traded for Corey Dillon, and they gave him like 300-plus touches or 300-plus carries. So I really think they're going to put the I could see this guy rising up in the ranks too. Like it's just these next 5 guys or next 8 guys. They're like the names, so you can't like kind of put them ahead of them. But if you get Rhamondre, if you draft him at 8 or 9 in the first round, I think you're getting an RB1, and I think you could be getting a top 3 running back at the end of the year if everything falls right. If the Patriots are at least decent, which come on, they got a good defense, so. Maybe they'll be at least 8.
Honestly, I think a lot of people have Rhamondre Stevenson higher. I don't like Patriots running backs, so that's kind of why I put him at the bottom of the top 10 because I'm not going to ignore the value there. I think he is going to be pretty good. But, like you said, Bill Belichick likes to put in whoever's playing running back. If this dude fumbles in the first quarter, the first handoff, he's not playing for the rest of the game. So it's like that's gonna hurt some of those weeks because, running backs fumble. It happens. But, like, as you see for Bill Belichick, don't play that. He really takes on the remember the Titans kind of form, like, you fumble my football, run a mile. So like that's really what's gonna happen with him. So that's why I'm always scared to take these guys. I get it. This next guy, I think like I said, this is top 10 already, but I think Derrick Henry should be higher, maybe in the top 5, top 4. It's just like at some point he's got to hit that wall, right? Like carrying.
That's kind of where this ranking puts him. Yeah,
right. It's kind of like eventually it's gonna happen. The dude's carrying the ball 30 times a game. What is he like 28, 20? It's probably I think he's 28, close to 29. So, like, eventually he will get slower. He is already – he's not already the fastest guy in the world. He is, pretty fast. I'm not going to say he's not. But that speed is eventually going to go. Sure. Yeah. He didn't get hurt last year, but the year before that he had that foot injury. That could always come back around. So, I don't need to sit here and talk about Derrick Henry. He's going to carry the ball 30 times, and you can get draft Derrick Henry. But
I think we probably could have put Taylor and Jacobs back and put Stevenson and Henry forward just based on Jacobs says he's not going to play if he doesn't get a contract. So with the way the NFL is these days, Le'Veon Bell sat out a whole season for some stuff like that. So that's actually what I was worried about with Saquon Barkley. I traded him in another league. I had him in both leagues where I was keeping him in the first round. And I traded him in one of the leagues because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. As soon as I traded him, I swear, the next day he signed his 1-year contract. I'm like, But I had the first pick in that draft, so I was like, I'm not keeping Saquon Barkley at 1-1. That's
right.
Jonathan Taylor, another dude who's awesome. Like, will get a ton of carries. Doesn't have a lot of competition, but is he gonna play this year? It's just one of those things. Like, I just feel like the running backs are like getting together and they're like, talking about, hey, we don't get paid a lot. Did you see the stat about the median price for kickers is higher than it is for running backs?
Oh yeah,
like the salary.
It's something crazy.
It's like $200,000 more a year or something. So a kicker overall. Now there's only 32 kickers, and there's probably 90 running backs, but still, kickers are getting paid more than running backs. That's pretty crazy when you think about that.
Right.
So
absolutely.
Jonathan got his money, so. Definitely.
I kind of want to go with Jonathan Taylor here. I'm not really worried about him not playing. I think he will play. The only reason I don't have him higher because I'm pretty high on Jonathan Taylor is because, like you said, he is probably he might hold out. He might get traded. You don't know what team he's going to get traded to, but I think he just kind of had an off year last year because if you remember the 2 years ago, he was far and beyond the best running back in the league. So
RB1,
he catches the ball. He runs pretty fast and hard, and that's always something you want in a guy. But go ahead. That's your boy Saquon.
Well, look, all I'm saying with Saquon is that they paid him, so he's going to play on that. Even if it's a 1-year contract, he's playing. So you don't have that fear now of will he or won't he like you do with Jacobs and Taylor. So I probably put him ahead of those two guys. And it's Saquon Barkley. I mean, they don't call this dude Saquon Barkley for no reason. Like, he's a beast. He's built. Been watching some of his because like I said, I had some stock in him. So I watch him on Instagram and his training and stuff. And, I mean, he looks fit. He looks ready to play. You know what I'm saying? They got Darren Waller now, so we got a little block, maybe a little tight end that can block a little bit, or maybe Bellinger can just do the blocking while Waller goes out to run some routes. So Barkley, he doesn't really have competition. What's the guy's name behind him? I'm seeing his face, his Madden picture, but I can't think of his name. I think one of y'all picked him up when Saquon might have been. But anyway, his backup is nobody that's going to take more than 2 carries a game away from him. You know?
Right.
So Saquon, he's a 3-down back, catches the ball, does everything you want. He's not coming out of the game really, so I like him as a top 5 over Josh Jacobs. Now Josh Jacobs was probably running back 1 or 2 last year, but they're losing Derek Carr. Their offense in general just isn't looking that great, minus Davante Adams. They lost Darren Waller as well. Their O-line hasn't been great. The Raiders just are kind of seem like they're on the downside a bit. Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, is he even going to play? I feel like I don't know. They said was it his elbow or I don't know. So it's just when you got all those question marks, defense isn't good. I don't know. That's a tough one. He wants to get paid, so I mean, he might throw his back out. He might throw his back out, in training camp and be like, "Oh, I'm not playing," like.
Yeah, I actually
these guys want to go get a paycheck, So,
I actually think that Josh Jacobs could be 2 if he was, what I mean, like you said, he's holding out for some money. He's not practicing, so it's something that you really got to think about. Yeah, that's really all I can say about that. Josh Jacobs is good. I think he was like the number 3 guy last year. Was he? I think he might have been. He was the number 1 in rushing yards last year. So. With Jimmy Garoppolo there, he's going to get a lot of carries, a lot of screen
catches the ball. I mean, yeah,
right,
yeah. So he's a good player. It's just these are the kind of guys where like I'm even lower on McCaffrey than other people just because of his injury history. Ekeler and McCaffrey. I think we talked about this earlier. Like I really wanted to put Nick Chubb at 1, even though Nick Chubb's been injured as well. I just think I'm like the most on like Nick Chubb is going to be number 1 running back this year. Is he going to catch those passes? Probably not out of running backs, but I think he's going to lead the league in rushing. And that goes a long way to making you running back 1. If you're getting 120 yards a week and 2 cracks at the end zone, that's good. Yeah. That's good. You don't even need to catch a lot of passes. AP didn't catch a lot of passes, and he was RB1 MVP 1 year. So
absolutely. Kind of brings us to the next guy, Nick Chubb. I put him up here for a specific reason. I put him at 4 because I feel like that's the most disrespectful running back in the league, right? If you ask people in the NFL besides Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb's the best running back in the league, like full-on running back. I mean, the dude is a monster. I mean, ever since he joins the league, he's been a top 10 guy. The only thing that hinders him,
averages 5 yards a carry for his career.
Right, the dude is a beast.
That's insane.
And he can catch. And he doesn't have Kareem Hunt there anymore. So now, like the backup running back they did have, he got hurt the other day. So it's like Jerome Ford. And I wouldn't be worried about him even if he was healthy. Right. And Deshaun Watson is going to take some pressure off of him as well. So I think Nick Chubb's going to have a great season.
I really like I just said, I like Chubb. And another stat for Chubb is he had the most 20-yard runs last year out of any running back. So be paying attention to that. Some leagues give points for long distance plays that aren't touchdowns. If you say 35-yard run instead of getting 3.5 points, you might get 4.5 points or something. You never know. So I would definitely keep an eye on Nick Chubb. And the Browns have a good offensive line. Deshaun Watson should be getting better. He's not coming off of being suspended or not having played for like 20 straight weeks or whatever it was. So, and he did all of that last year. That's why I like Amari Cooper this year too. Amari Cooper was wide receiver 10 last year and didn't even have a good Watson when he did come back. So it's like, why would Amari Cooper not be even better? Like DeAndre Hopkins was the number 1 wide receiver in the league when he had Watson, So it's like, I really think the Browns team, I don't know if they're going to be winning as many games, but their offense, I think Elijah Moore, Donovan Jones, Nick Chubb, they're going to be beasts. They got Elijah Moore coming out the backfield, dude. So now you might have quarterback Nick Chubb, Elijah Moore in the backfield. They're both running routes, and then maybe you just pick it and run. I mean, they're going to have a lot going on. Nice. So that's what I'm saying. For me, Nick Chubb, I think, is my guy who's going to be RB1. But these next 3 guys are your more safer, the safer picks. And I'll let Eric talk about Bijan because that's what he likes. For me, I would probably take Ekeler out of these 3. I don't know. I say that, but if I could just guarantee McCaffrey would be healthy, I would obviously take McCaffrey.
He played every game last year.
I know, but
he's back, baby. He's back. He's back. But yeah, Bijan, man. Bijan is the highest rated prospect since like Emmitt Smith or like Saquon Barkley, whatever they were saying. The dude's a beast. The dude was one of the most elusive pass catching 3-down backs at Texas. He balled against Alabama last year, so he can do it against the big teams. I hate that he went to the Falcons, man. I really like Bijan, and I still drafted him in my dynasty league because I had the first pick. But being on the Falcons might have its perks because even Tyler Algier ran for 1,000 last year. You had Cordell Patterson who played pretty well. Bijan's gonna ball
1,000 the year before. So.
Right. Yeah. Bijan's going to ball.
I don't think it's crazy to have Bijan in the top 5, especially because he's a guy that can catch, and they want to use him as a 3-down guy.
Right.
Me and you just have different philosophies about picking Falcons players and stuff. So, I would probably want to pick.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I know. You play to win, and I should play to win too, so I shouldn't let my feelings get.
Yeah. I don't do like Marlon, bro. Marlon won't draft Cowboys. I draft to win. I don't care if it's a Falcon. I drafted Julio Jones 2nd overall on in my championship year. So one of my championship years because I went back to back. So yeah, you pick to win, and Bijan Robinson is going to help people win their games this year. Only thing I can see him slowing him down is an injury. So God forbid that happens. Going to knock that wood real quick because I have the worst luck in the world. Then go to Ekeler. Ekeler is somebody that in the past 2 years have scored like almost 20 touchdowns both years. Ekeler is going to catch the ball. He's going to run the ball. That's the really thing. These top 3 guys right here, they all are going to stay in the field for the majority of the game. They're going to be in the field first down, second down, third down, no matter what. They're not going to come out because they're in a passing down situation. They are going to be the guys that they throw the ball to get them the first down. So Austin Ekeler is a very good option for pass catching. And then, like you said, for number 1 is Chris McCaffrey. That's just God forbid. The only thing you got to worry about with Chris McCaffrey is that injury history that they had. But that is if you play fantasy football to win. You don't play fantasy football to not lose. You know what I'm saying? You don't play to not lose. You play to win. So if you have you have the number 1 pick, like I had last year in Sleazy. I had the number 2 pick, and somebody picked somebody. I don't remember who they picked first overall.
Cooper Kupp, maybe.
No, I had him too. I can't remember who it was. Somebody picked. It was Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, it was Jonathan Taylor. They picked Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, right.
So I went back and forth. I was like, am I really going to take Chris McCaffrey here? And I just everything I read, I was just like, you don't play fantasy football to lose, to not lose. You play it to win. And if you have the option to take the best player available, you take him. And if he gets hurt, then that's not, you didn't lose because you drafted Chris McCaffrey. You lost because he got hurt. So that's kind of my philosophy on that going forward.
Look, and I'm right there with you. I think about it a little differently in the sense of if this is the guy who I know who has been injured in the past, and then I draft him, and then he gets hurt, then I feel like I lost because I drafted him, even though I knew he could get hurt. So there's different philosophies on it. I'm dealing with it in my other league, the Sleazy League we're talking about. I have first pick. I'm keeping Ja'Marr Chase, and I have Calvin Ridley in the 12th round. So I've got 2 great wide receivers already. And I'm still probably picking Justin Jefferson because I don't know. I just can't. There's something. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. Part of me is wanting to trade back. I really think I might try to trade back maybe. I don't know. I'm getting frisky on it because I really want to have those 3 wide receivers, but.
Can you imagine how you have Chris McCaffrey, Ja'Marr Chase, and Calvin Ridley, and whoever else you pick going forward in the 2nd round, whatever it is. I know you don't do trades, so you're probably picking at 212, but
well, no, I have Ja'Marr Chase at 212, so that's why my next pick is 3-1. And so I'm like I was saying, if I pick Gibbs there, it's tough. I don't know.
If he makes
it there, because Pollard or something.
Sleazy's good with the keeper, so he might not even make it to 3-1.
Yeah, that's kind of why I picked him in that mock last night because I was like, this is probably where I'm going to be picking him anyway. That's why I made that choice.
But that would be your running back 1. See, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why you probably should go Chris McCaffrey 1-1, get Ja'Marr Chase, who would probably be the 3rd overall pick anyway, right? If you didn't, so now you have the best receiver and the best running back, and now you can still pick Gibbs. He's your running back 2, and you're solid. But you're not going to listen. You're going to take Justin Jefferson.
I don't know, man. It's so tough. Part of me, it's just I'm really going to have to work on some trades week of the draft because I'm right there with you. I am definitely thinking about making the CMC pick, like because of all the things you just said, like all of that's going through my mind. And this is part of the way to play fantasy, guys. Like have what you wanted. Like I want to pick Justin Jefferson, but don't be afraid to like think of the possibilities of the other things you can do. Like Eric wasn't the first. Eric didn't just, I could pick CMC. Gee. Like I'm obviously also thinking this. It's just like, I really want Justin Jefferson on my team.
That's the homer in you. Imagine if he didn't go to LSU, you wouldn't be like, I gotta pick Jefferson. You'd be like,
I'm thinking that too because other people are like saying, like I saw some leagues that Tyreek Hill was the first wide receiver pick, and I'm just like, really? Like that's crazy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. No, in other leagues, any league mocks I've been doing in Justin Jefferson and Chase go one in the 1 to 2 to 3 range.
And see, that's kind of what worries me too, because when the consensus picks, like I feel like has the consensus number 1 pick ever been the guy who finished number 1?
Doesn't happen often, yeah, no. But I mean,
right?
I don't remember the last time the consistent pick was a receiver at number 1. I don't remember that. So
and 2,
and no, I guess it is 2. I mean, I've only done like super flex leagues so far in that mock draft we did last night. So, but like in Chase and Jefferson do go 1 and 2. It's just like, why is the running back position like being devalued all of a sudden? I don't really understand it. I think running back is the most important position. That's why we're doing these rankings now, because this is going to change a couple times. I feel like, because injuries happen, things happen with the contracts and stuff. So Josh Jacobs signs his contract, I'm putting him higher up in the rankings. If Jonathan Taylor signs his contract or whatever it is with him, I'm putting him up in the rankings. Like it's just a crapshoot right here. Receivers are interchangeable to me. I don't need a receiver in the first round to have.
The reason I was thinking about this earlier, like the only reason, and now McCaffrey's kind of the outlier on this, but the only reason I was really, really talking myself into having the 2 wide receivers is because I feel like wide receivers have like a higher ceiling. Like, Jamar Chase can get you like, he literally had like over 200 yards receiving 1 week. So that's like in Sleazy, that's like almost 60 points or something. Like a running back has to really, really go off and have like a receiving touchdown or something to get you into the 50s or 60s. So it's like,
I will let you know that
Tyreek Hill's getting 45 points every week. It's like
that first year I won in Sleazy, I had Chris McCaffrey and he scored 6 touchdowns in 1 game and had like 67 points or something like that. So if there's a running back that's going to do it, it will be Chris McCaffrey. So that's something that you should think about too. Because like you said, if he stays healthy, he will ball. But, that was when he was on the Panthers. He is on the 49ers now, and it seemed like they were trying to take care of him last year, where he wasn't playing every down. He was coming off the field a lot. They were letting Elijah Mitchell do some work.
Still had 1,900 yards total and 15 touchdowns or something. So, but then I look at it, and your boy and Jefferson had 1,800 yards and 8 touchdowns. So I'm like, if he can just get 1,800 yards again and up his touchdowns, I don't know. It's going to be a tough pick. I mean, I think either way, Justin Jefferson at this point, but I'm definitely like, because you have to start 2 running backs, and this is a league where you start 3 wide receivers and then you have 2 flex. So I mean, it's not going to hurt me to have Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. It's just going to maybe lower my ceiling for running backs if I don't get a stud running back 1, especially because I'm keeping Chase at 212. I don't know. It's like I just wish if I knew I could get Tony Pollard at 3-1, then it would be a no-brainer. I was picking Chase, But
did y'all fill the league at 12?
Oh, that's the other thing. So we're down to 10 now too. So I guess the picks are going to be a little closer.
Y'all are down to 10?
We don't have 2 other people, man. We had 2 guys, and both dudes said they couldn't make the draft. And my dad was like, I'm not trying to draft over Zoom type of shit, So that's where we're at right now.
I drunkenly texted your dad one night, and I was just like, "Yeah, damn, I really thought you were going to ask me to come back." And he was just like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, "I don't want."
Oh, he told me about that. I was actually laughing. He said he was like completely dumbfounded and surprised. He was like, "I thought this guy hated me, and now he wants to be my friend." And I was just like,
"I love the league. That's why I love Sleazy. I love to be in the Sleazy. It's just I can't imagine I'm really not going to be in it this year. That's my first league. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is the first time I'm doing a podcast with you on fantasy football now. And without Sleazy, that probably wouldn't be a thing because I just wouldn't give a crap about fantasy. Now I'm not going to be.
I wouldn't. My dad's who got me into fantasy, so that's kind of why I stick in the league too. Plus,
I got in it like 2014 or 15, so it's been like almost 10 years I was in the league, and I'm not doing it, so it's kind of crazy.
I kind of was gonna talk to my dad and be like, what if Eric and Connor like can join back in the league, but they just can't be in the group chat or something, like y'all can still trade and stuff, but just stay out of the group chat, I don't know. Part of me just thinks that he thinks like I've always kind of felt like this about my dad too. Like he doesn't want like too much competition, like he keeps me in.
I really think that too. Yeah.
But like,
has there been
like all these studs and shit?
Has there been any sketchy trades yet with him and Brody?
I did a sketchy trade with Brody, but no, I don't think so. I traded Brody.
So now he wants to go mild with it. Now that I left, that's really the only problem.
Right. I traded Brody Saquon Barkley for him to keep in the first, and he gave me 6-1. But he had like three 6th-round picks.
Yeah.
So I mean, my dad of course told him he got fleeced, but I was like, I don't know.
What pick does he have?
I asked him what he wanted to trade me, and he was like, "Oh, I have 6-1." And he's like, I have 3 6th-round picks. And I was like, well, just give me one of them. And so he gave me, and it was the first pick. And I was like, okay, thanks.
What pick does he have?
Because that was right after I got 1-1. I think he's like 1-8 or something. So he's probably just going to trade back to 12 or something. So
that's not bad.
Yeah, but my dad was saying I wasn't going to keep him. So, my dad's thought process was, oh, well, you just traded him a guy he could have just picked on his own. And I'm like, well, now he guarantees to have him. And then he signed his contract 2 days later. So it's like,
that makes more sense. Okay. Yeah. Well, with 10 teams, it's going to be much easier to draft in Sleazy. So,
yeah, that's kind of what I'm like. All right, if we only have 10, I might be able to really pick Jefferson and then still get a good RB1. I can't get Rhamondre because my dad's keeping him. But if I can get
let Bo back in, I heard that
Mixon or Tony Pollard, hopefully at 3-1, I'll really be feeling good.
No way. But anyway,
we'll probably
talk more about this. We'll probably talk more about this off live. I forgot that we were doing this still. At the end,
people want to know.
At the end of the day, become an all access member for Fantasy Six Pack. It really helps us out, and we really want to play against you guys. I love competition. So if you like to play fantasy football, come and like and subscribe to us at Fantasy Six Pack. We're doing a 15% discount if you go to fantasysixpack.net/plans and use the promo code F6P. NFL to save 15% when you sign up today. And like I said, get into those drawings. You can win a big old trophy. You can play against me and Blake. You can play against all the other guys. And
join the Discord, y'all. If you join the Discord, that's how you can get in our drafts. We had 4 guys, 4 like non-guys who aren't experts or writers or anything in our draft last night. And 2 of them had pretty good drafts.
One of them had the number 1 rated team, they said.
Oh, yeah, right. So, I mean, look, y'all might know more than we do, but we can't know if y'all don't jump in the Discord and try to join and figure it out. So
come hang out with us.
Yeah. Get in there.
But all right, man.
All right, bro, let's tap out.
Here. See y'all.